You know what can be surprisingly difficult to paint? Grass. Good old fields of medium-length grass. And if you ever paint backgrounds or environments, you're probably going to be painting a lot of grass. So let's take a look at it. From my experience as a teacher, the problem people run into is a failure to think of grass as just another series of shapes and edges, and instead thinking about it as what it literally is, which is thousands and thousands of little stalks. This can lead you to paint grass like this. But, as is often true with painting, being guided by the literalness of something may not be the best approach. In my painting here, the lawn looks and feels like luscious, welcoming grass, but you still get the design out of it. So, how do we do this? How do we control something as chaotic as grass? Well, you know I love the fundamentals, and grass is all about controlling edges. I'll do a little example here. I'm just painting a green ball right now. As you can see, it's a pretty solid ball. Okay, now I want to make that ball feel fuzzy, like a tennis ball or something. To do that, all I have to do is adjust the edge, specifically the edge of the silhouette. And I'm doing that just on one layer. I'm using a smudge tool with a kind of soft, bristly style brush. I'll speed it up a little here to get to the end. And there we go. We started here with a hard ball and completely transformed the texture in a matter of minutes with one fundamental: edges. Okay, so what about the inside of the tennis ball? What can we do there? And the answer is, you actually need much less inside the shape, because the main information that delivers the feeling of fuzziness is at the silhouette. But what I can do here on a new layer, I'm just laying down this noise with a dotted brush. I'll smudge that around a little bit just to increase the randomness, then reduce the layer's opacity to taste, maybe do another quick pass with some lighter dots, and fade that layer back into the ball. And that's about it. Just a little noise on the inside of the shape will play a nice supporting role to the main information, which again is the edges at the silhouette. Now, we went from grass to tennis balls, but grass is the same thing. It's all about adjusting the edge of your shapes. So here are 4 shapes, and on this first one, I'm using the exact same brush that I just used on the tennis ball, adjusting the edge of the shape to make it feel like grass. I'll take it one step further by adding another sub-shape here. This could be a shadow, for example. And now I'm adjusting the edge of that shape with just the same brush, nothing fancy. Moving on to the second one now, and all I'm doing here is changing the brush, but going about it the same way. This one feels a little softer maybe. I like the kind of fade effect it has at the top there. For the third one, I'll get out a more aggressive brush. This is a heavy bristle brush. Fundamentally, this is all the same process, and we're still able to paint different types of grass just based on the tool we're using. Now, from here, you could zoom in order to sweeten things up a little bit. As you can see, here I am painting a few individual grass blades. There is room for that. It's just as an accent pass over something more fundamentally rooted. But even here, notice I'm still favoring the areas closest to the silhouette. When it comes to things like grass or fuzz or hair, our eye gets the most information from the silhouette. Learning sure is fun, so let's have a word from our sponsor.
Today's video is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is the best place to learn a new creative skill or pick up a new hobby. I've been on Skillshare for years now. I teach on there, hosting lots of premium content. I also do one-on-one sessions on Skillshare, but I also enjoy Skillshare as a student myself, exploring the vast array of subjects they have to offer.
I'm into electronics, and I'm searching for classes on one specific product. And look at this, there's a bunch to choose from. Right up front, you know the skill level the class is targeting, how long the class is. Clicking on a class will show you its trailer, as well as all the information you need to decide if the class is right for you. Classes also come with projects and resources, reviews, and most importantly, discussions with other students so we can all learn together. Whether it's building new skills or upgrading your career or just rekindling a creative spark, Skillshare has you covered.
The first 500 people to use my link in the description or scan this QR code will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. You should give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy it. Thanks, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it.
Taking our previous grass study one step further here, I'm laying down some simple shapes just like I did before, and here are some simple shadows for those shapes to give them some volume. Purposely keeping the drawing very simple here. I think this is something most of us watching can do. Here I'm just adding the color of a dirt path or something. So basically, on a fundamental level, we have a shape of light, and inside of that, a shadow shape. So 2 shapes. All we're doing is looking at the edge of each shape. So here's shape number 1, and I'm looking at this edge because I'll probably want to have grass coming up from the top. And then here's shape number 2, which gives me this edge to look at. And this is where it's beneficial to think of painting like sculpting. I'm taking big masses and adjusting them. The video is of course a bit sped up here, but even in real time this took 5 minutes, and mostly just done with a single brush as well. Speaking of the brush, here's a raw brushstroke of the brush I'm using. I'm just using that brush as a smudge tool. You can see it's kind of bristly. It already has the characteristic of grass, but the smudginess helps soften those edges a bit more. And that's because when you're observing, say, a field of grass, you are absolutely not registering every grass blade, even though that's literally what's there. It reminds me of that expression, missing the forest for the trees. When we paint grass, we are painting the visual impact of a collection of similar things, not the things themselves. The lateral shift in thinking when it comes to painting a collection of things allows you to much more easily simplify it into shapes and edges, which, ironically, comes closer to feeling like the real thing. Let's put all this through its paces in a more production environment, namely doing a quick environment sketch. This is inspired by a Studio Ghibli background, but this could just as easily be a piece of concept art or a VizDev piece, all the way up to a finished illustration. So that hill there is going to be full of grass, and I'm just setting the stage with a house and sky background. And here we go. Big brushes, big shapes. I'm thinking design. I want that to feel like a nice rolling hill. So I'm using the brush accordingly. I'm going over the form with big shapes, trying to first capture that sweeping landscape look. What I'm painting is not even really grass yet, other than the fact that it's green, I guess. Putting in some shadow shapes here, some smaller shapes, just like we did before in our simple studies, except here I'm trying to use these shapes for actual geometry. You know, how is that hill formed? Where does the grass bunch up? Or how is it blowing in the wind? You know, using simple shapes to build a sense of believability into the landscape. And that's really the only difference between this and our simple swatch studies from earlier, is that these shapes just have a bit more thought into them. All right, it's time to make it look more like grass, texture-wise. So I'm applying all the stuff that we've talked about. That is, I'm looking at the edges of my shapes. There's quite a few shapes on there. Every value change is a shape. Every color change is a shape. Each one presenting a unique opportunity with edges. And that statement is actually true of any shape and subject in painting, not just for grass. Okay, so the background I was looking at had this rock in it. And I'm going to put that in because it presents yet more opportunities to find edges between shapes. There's quite a bit of contrast between these shapes as well. You know, the shadow of the rock versus the light of the grass. That's pretty high contrast. And the higher the contrast, the more noticeable your edge changes will be. And here comes that edge work right now. Starting with my classic smudge tool that I've used a bunch already in this video. It's kind of my default tool. That tool worked great for the more distant grass, but this is closer. I need a bit more resolution out of it. So I'll get out an actual thin brush and yes, draw a few grass blades, but specifically putting them where the edges of the shapes are. Remember, that's where you get the most mileage. That's where the viewer gets the most information. Another way to say it is where one thing meets another. Those are critical junction points to consider in a painting. And painting grass is just one good example of why. Remember, these are fundamentals, which means they can be applied to any style. Let's take this photograph here, for example, except this part is painted, and I specifically didn't bring it to too high of a finish. I wanted to use this to show just how powerful the fundamentals alone can be. One of the nice things about grass is it's pretty abstract to begin with, and that means you can get away with basically any shape. It's not like drawing a portrait, where if you mess up the shape of the eye, the anatomy looks off or something. Here, I just threw down some blobs, following the same trajectory of sunlight that was in the photo, of course. Gave those blobs a little shadow shape there on the left, and here I am with my trusty smudge tool. That's the Photoshop smudge tool, by the way. Every app has its own version of smudge tools. So whatever app you're using, you will have tools like this. And for those traditional artists watching, of which I am one, these fundamentals translate directly to pastel, gouache, acrylic, oil, even watercolor. Take a step back here and just remember how different this approach is from doing this. Hopefully it's clear by now that doing it this way really torpedoes any chance you have of good shape design. But remember, there is a place for individual grass blades. You saw that earlier. Although here I'm not doing that. I'm doing the tennis ball thing. I spattered in a bunch of random dots. I just gave them a bit of a blur there, and dialing that layer in to taste. And that's about all for today. I hope you're happy as this deer. Also, if you're ever doing extreme close-up grass and weeds like this, that is a different story. But if you like this video, let me know and I'll make a follow-up where we tackle that stuff. Hey, by the way, we have a community Discord going now and we'd love for some more people to join. Find the invite link in the description. All right, I'll see you in the next video.